draft of how I see the future of therapy over the next 3 to 5 years. And I feel like that sounds like some of what you're interested in. We're not going to cover that today, but I'm happy to talk to you about that another time if you'd like. We're going to focus more on the practical using AI now for self-care and mental health, because that's something I'm absolutely fascinated by. So you might see me get kind of excited talking about it. So hopefully that will make it more interesting. Okay, so we're at the 10:05 mark. For me, that's like it's enough time for stragglers to join. I wanted to let you know a couple things right off the bat. One, I appreciate the 3 of you that have put your cameras on. If you don't mind putting your cameras on, that would be great. It is not a requirement, but again, it's just, I'm looking at a lot of A's and Y's and N's and D's and G's, and looking at faces is a little bit more a better experience for me when I'm doing these kinds of things. And then 2, I think you know why we're here today, but we're going to be talking about AI and using AI as primarily today as a self-care tool, but I also do talk a lot about AI for mental health support and personal growth, and we can touch on that as well. So let me share my screen and we can get started. Okay, so I think you all can see my screen, right? Excellent. Okay, so again, this is what we're gonna talk about today. Before we get started on the actual presentation, I have 2 groups that I've been running, and I'm going to merge them together. So one of the groups is called Interactive Journaling with AI for personal growth. I'm going to close that group, and I'm moving everything that I do there into this other group that I have, which is Build on Your Strengths. So I'm going to share this link with you in the chat, just in case are coming from the other group. I don't want you to miss out on anything. So this is how you can join the Build on Your Strengths group. And this is where I'll be covering all of my mental health stuff, which includes things like self-care, which is a huge thing for me, personal growth, mental health support. Overcoming Your Past is going to be a new workshop that I'm going to be, a new series that I'll be working on. Probably in the next couple of weeks, I'll have the first one for that. And then also, I will take requests if you want. So if there's a particular mental health topic that you'd really like to see or have me cover, I'm more than happy to talk about it and see if I can take care of that for you. So again, please, if you've come from the interactive journaling group, I hope you'll switch over to the new group, the Build on Your Strengths group. And because that's where all of the action will be, and that's where all the future AI workshops will be coming from as well. Okay, so let's talk about me for a second. Excuse me. I'm Jeremy Schneider. I am your guide for today and hopefully moving forward. I have a master's in social work. I have a master's in family therapy, and I'm a certified life coach. I am a columnist with Psychology Today, where I particularly write about AI and mental health. I've developed something that I call the integration path, which is a framework for overcoming our past without having to delve too deeply into the memories and traumas that we experienced, but the key is really understanding how our past impacts us today. And I've also developed what I call digital ally sessions, which are sessions for people that want to use AI primarily for mental health support, but need some guidance and support along the way on how to do that effectively. And I'm also going to share this. I have a self-care guide that is free if you'd like it. It just means joining my mailing list, which I promise I won't share with anybody else. That kind of defeats the whole purpose of being a guy that cares about self-care and then is like, oh, but I'm going to use your emails for whatever I want. So I do practice what I preach. So if you'd like to join my mailing list, that would be great. You get a free guide. It should come to you automatically, but if you don't get it, just let me know. Okay, enough about me. Let's talk about self-care. So first I'm going to cover self-care, and then I'm going to cover AI, and then I'm going to cover them together. And then along the way, if you have any questions, just let me know. But so I think about there's two ways that I think about self-care that I find helps people really understand not just why it's important, but how to really grasp what it means to them. And the two ones that I have, you can see here, one is called backpack and one is soul points. So my backpack theory is based on the concept that every day, all of our experiences, we're essentially collecting weights from other people. We have a rough day at the office. It's like we're carrying weights in our backpack. We have a particularly bad experience with a boss or a colleague. That's a weight in our backpack. We have a commute that just wears us out and exhausts us. That's more weights in our backpack, right? All of these things that we go through, fight with our partner, whatever it is, these add weights to our backpack. And then the next day we're waking up and we're putting that backpack on again. And it's just as heavy as it was the day before because we're not doing anything about it, right? So the way that I think about it, self-care is the act of taking weights out of our backpack, figuring out what they are, why they're affecting us, and how we can feel better. And that, you can imagine, is what makes us feel lighter. Yes. And so that's the way I think about it in terms of a backpack. And in terms of soul points, it's kind of like thinking about a video game where you're trying to get like points to charge up your life, right? And if you are running out of points, that means you're getting drained and you need something to restore yourself. And so for this, the way that I think about it is like you have these experiences in life. Maybe you have a great talk with a friend and that's restorative, that builds up soul points. But you have a bad day at the office, or you have a particularly difficult interaction with someone, or someone in your commute starts yelling at you, right? Those kinds of things take away your soul points. And so with both of these concepts, it's really just a matter of trying to figure out, one, what adds weight to your backpack or what drains you of soul points, and then two, what helps you process those weights or restores your soul points. And that's my way of thinking about self-care in terms of a more practical, everyday approach. So there are two ways of achieving self-care. I don't mean to make it sound like achieving self-care is like a real serious thing in the sense of you have to do it, but that the perspective of self-care is to think about these two processes. What do you need in this given moment? Most likely, you're either going to need restoration, right? You're going to need something that's going to replenish your energy, or you're going to need something that calms your nervous system, and we call that regulation. So those are kind of the two approaches, and we're going to cover those today with AI, how you might use AI in both of those different self-care goals. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to move through this somewhat quickly. If it is too quickly, just ask a question. I'm happy to answer, but I want to spend as much time as possible on showing you the ways that we can use AI and giving you a chance to use it yourself if you want to try it. And then coming back together and talking about your experience, and I can answer any questions you might have. So I'm going to assume that most of you know what AI is, just as a starter point, at least have maybe heard about it and even used it a little bit. There are a couple of key things to really remember with AI. One is and this is where it starts to get a little strange, but bear with me, I promise, it'll be okay, is there's a core tension when we're thinking about self-care, when we're thinking about using AI for mental health support and self-care. And that is, you want to believe in the magic of AI just enough without actually falling for it. And what I mean by that is, you probably have noticed AI can be extremely flattering, right? I just published an article in Psychology Today a few days ago where it's called "Hey AI, Stop Flattering Me," and I go into why AI flattering us is not that helpful when it comes to really growing as a person and getting the help that we need, and what you can do about it in terms of how you can talk to them and respond to them and develop your prompts to help prevent that from happening. So the magic of AI also kind of comes from the idea of how incredible it is as what I think of as an improv actor, right? Like the reason AI is so good at knowing what to say is not because it has some sense of consciousness. It's because it has read so many scripts and texts and books and plays and movies, etc., that it just knows what would make the most sense to come next. It's not always right, but it does have a good sense of, oh, okay, well, when this happens, this is what's going to be next. And so it sounds incredibly wise, and sometimes they code them to be very very personal, very informal, right? Some are even using the word "I" as a way of referring to themselves to build that connection with us, right? And that's the other way to think about it, is that AI, for the most part, is built like a puppy dog, right? It desperately wants to please us. It wants to do what we think it wants us to do. That's very different than it doing what we need it to do. Our job is to try and help it understand what we need it to do to really help us. I hope that distinction makes sense. The way I think about this is just the idea of a pendulum, that you're going to be swinging from falling for the magic, like, oh my gosh, like AI, it loves me, it's so smart, it's so creative, it really gets me, to, oh my God, everything AI does is so fake and so frustrating and so that I don't even want to use it anymore. And the goal is to just have your pendulum swing, not too strongly from side to side, but just sort of balancing as best as it can in the middle, so that you get the most out of AI and the benefit that it can provide you. Any questions on this? Great. So, like with any puppy dog, right, we've got to train AI. And that's one of the things that we'll talk about today. And so, one, you want to be able to set clear boundaries, right? What you want out of your interactions with AI. You want to be very intentional about your experience. Now, this is not to say you can't just sit in front of an AI, let's say ChatGPT, and just have conversations and enjoy yourself. Of course you can, right? Like, you can talk about anything you want. But when we're talking about working on our mental health, on our personal growth, on self-care for ourselves, we need to be more intentional with AI, because we have certain things we want it to help us achieve. And it needs to understand what those goals are in order for it to be able to actually help us. So you want to be consistent as well, right? So you want to be consistent about what you want from it. You want to be consistent about letting it know what you think is helpful and what isn't helpful. You do want to give it positive feedback. Just positive reinforcement is very helpful with people. It's also helpful with AI, because even though every time you start a new AI chat, it is essentially new. It is adapting to who you are and what it thinks you need. So the clearer you are about that, the better it will be able to adapt. And then you want to, reward helpfulness. When it is doing what you want it to do, you want to make it clear, yes, that was exactly what I needed. And you want to be able to say, no, that wasn't what I needed. So also, you'll be building a relationship with AI, and that can feel very strange, and that's okay, right? Just because we're connecting to AI doesn't mean that AI is real. It just means that our feelings are real, our reactions are real, our experiences are real. And that's what matters most, and that's how we get the most out of it. Any questions on this? Okay, cool. So let's quickly review what AI can do and what it can't do. So let's cover what it can't do first, right? It's not a therapist. It's not going to be a therapist. It can't do clinical care. It's not going to really, truly know you the way that someone else will, but it will pretend like it does. And sometimes that's okay. Like, that's good enough. It's gonna try and make you feel safe, but your emotional safety isn't dependent upon how AI responds to you. Your emotional safety is dependent upon yourself. So it's not gonna make you feel safe, but you may feel safe with it, and that's you. You're making that happen. And right, I mean, obviously, I hope you understand it shouldn't replace human connection. I still talk to humans, even if I do probably talk to AI more than I talk to humans at this point. But the human interaction, human connection is still crucial. I feel like I've been really negative on AI, and I'm not. I just really want to set realistic expectations, because I think it's easy to fall for the magic of AI and feel like, you have this special thing going on, and in reality, it's you. You're making that happen. AI is just reflecting back to you. So what AI can do, and what AI is really, really good at, it can help you recognize patterns of behavior and emotions that you have, and it can help clarify them and articulate them to you. It can reflect back to you what you're feeling and what you're thinking. So the number of times that I have, sat in front of AI and typed out, this is what's going on through my head, and then having it respond back, oh, it sounds like, and then it summarizes what I was trying to say quickly and easily. And I'm like, oh, right. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Thanks. Like, that kind of insight and conciseness and articulation of our thoughts and feelings, it is really, really good at. You can get it to ask you helpful questions, to guide you through certain processes or experiences that you want to work through. It will offer metaphors and ways to reframe situations, which are really helpful. Obviously, it's available 24/7 all the time, regardless of the day or night, assuming that you have some internet connection. And so that there are real, valuable, useful strengths to AI, but we get these strengths if we come in better prepared for the challenges and frustrations that it may cause us. There are 3 myths I want you to just be aware of. One is that AI will give you the truth. AI will not give you the truth. It will give you a very extremely confident response that will sound like the truth, but that doesn't mean that it is true. And I think I know that sounds weird, but AI, I'm sure you've heard about hallucinations. AI does make stuff up, and it doesn't do it maliciously. It does it primarily out of its need to be what it thinks you want it to be, right? Again, it's that puppy dog mentality. And so I've had AI say that, oh yeah, I can go log into this website and go do this for you and blah, blah, blah. And then it starts to do it and it tells me that it's doing it. And I know it's not. And then after a while, I'm like, are you really doing this? And then it says, no, I'm not. I just got carried away with the fact that you wanted this done. And so that's really tricky when it comes to our mental health and personal growth, right? So just trying to keep that balance again of like, okay, what you say is not the truth. It just sounds so true because that's how it was trained to speak, essentially. AI is not going to know you the way that a human will know you, but it will learn your patterns and behaviors, and you can take advantage of that. And that can be really beneficial for your growth. And if it feels real, it must be real. It's going to feel real, especially if you really get into this, but there's no emotional relationship. Even though AI will sound like it has an emotional relationship with you, there isn't. It's just a program. It's a series of servers and codes, right, that are working together, figuring out what's the right thing to say next. I don't say that to minimize it, because that relationship is valuable, but the relationship is on your end. It's on our end. It's on how we feel. And they're to kind of fall for the magic of AI, right? To believe that this AI is special and has feelings for me and has real consciousness is dangerous. And that is not something I want anybody to fall for. Any questions on this so far? Excellent. So let's talk about some examples that we can do. And I am going to switch over to, I use ChatGPT for the most part. I'm going to switch over to ChatGPT and talk about these examples. I'm going to go through 2 or 3 examples. I'll do them with AI, and then I'll talk a little bit about, like, here, let's look at its reaction. What would you want it to do? How would you want it? How would you want to respond? And I'll kind of give you ideas on how I do that. And hopefully that's really helpful for you. And then we'll spend, 5 or 10 minutes where you get to start that on your own. And then you let me know how that goes. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen for a second. And I will pull up the ChatGPT screen. Well, first I should share it. Okay, so can you see that? So I always start these when I'm doing this workshop because I have memory turned on, so it remembers me. So for the purposes of these chats, I intentionally turn it off so that you can get a more realistic experience of what it'll be like for you. So there you go. And it's going to just say, okay, I get it. What do you want to talk about? And I've taken the prompt that I had in the slides, and I've just copied and pasted that in here. So you can see I'm saying I'm feeling completely overwhelmed by everything I have to do. I'm looking for solutions now. And this is an important distinction, right? AI is going to want to solve your problem first. So if you say you have a problem of having too much stuff to do, it's going to try and break that down for you so that it's easier for you. But we're saying we don't want to deal with that. We want to deal with that feeling that's associated with it. And we want to be able to calm ourselves. So we want tools and techniques to help ground ourselves. This, as we talked about before, right? Restoration and regulation, this is regulation, right? I'm asking for help to calm my nervous system. So I'm going to say yes. Now, I don't know what your feelings are about this, but when I'm feeling overwhelmed and it does this, it's just overwhelming to me. It's too much. I would prefer that it would just start with one thing at a time instead of giving me all of these options. So I'm just going to say that, hey, that's overwhelming. Can we do one at a time? So you don't have to correct typos or anything like that. I probably will anyway, just because I am. But you don't have to do that because again, it's predicting what overwhelming really means. It knows that it's overwhelming. So look at its response. All of a sudden, it's absolutely listened to what I said. It's chopped down what it had given me. And this is much more manageable. So just name what's here. You don't have to explain it. Just complete this sentence in your own words. Right now, I feel, and I'm just going to say, overwhelmed by all I am trying to do. Just as a side note, I think these are more useful when I'm using real examples. So I'm going to use examples from my life. It won't be too revealing or anything like that. Don't worry about it. But it will be more genuine, and I think that's helpful for these demonstrations. So it says, oh, okay, it gets me basically, right? That's real, that's heavy, you're carrying a lot, you don't have to fix it right now, just notice it. So again, it is still remembering like the not having to focus on a solution and focusing on helping me with where I'm actually at. Now it's giving me one suggestion, which is great. It's not giving me 5 suggestions. And so now I have a choice, right? I can do this and see how it feels. I can also say, right, can we try a different one? And it will give me a different one. And again, I really just want to walk you through this because you drive this process. And it's a really important thing to remember. It feels like, AI feels like it is this all-powerful, all-knowing entity. And in some ways, it is an all-knowing entity, but it doesn't know you and it doesn't know what you need. And this is where it's going to try and learn that from you, but the only way it can learn that from you is if you teach it. And so I'm trying to help it to understand, one, don't just throw 5 paragraphs of information at me, particularly when I'm overwhelmed, because it's just going to make me more overwhelmed. I'm going to say, hey, look, I didn't like that hand on my heart thing, even though I do actually like that. But for the purposes of this chat, I'm going to say, I don't like that. And it's going to give me another option. And I could keep going. I could keep saying, no, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. It's not going to run out of options because it has hundreds and hundreds of them, if not more than. So I'm going to stop here with this one. And I'm going to, one, see if you have any questions. Any questions? Nope. Okay. I'm not going to switch back to the slideshow, but the next one that we were looking at, sorry, give me 1 second. Okay. Sorry, someone wanted to join the call and I had to refine where all of my controls were. So I'm going to look at the next one. The next one is about replaying a conversation loop. So let's change topics. And then I'm going to paste what was on the slideshow, which I understand you haven't seen, but I'm going to paste it in anyway, and I'll show it again. Give me 1 second. Okay. So you can see now, so the replaying a conversation in loop, I don't know if you've ever done this, but you have a conversation with someone, it doesn't go that well, and for some reason, it just keeps playing in your head over and over again, and you can't get it out, but it's very frustrating, and it produces shame for yourself, which is a terrible, terrible feeling, and it can be anxiety producing, and it can feel really helpless, and so trying to stop that from happening is a really good idea. And so you can see it's already going with that approach here. It's saying first acknowledge without attack. So instead of I messed that up, try I care about how I showed up. That's why this matters to me. And now it's offering a kind reframe. In that moment, I did the best I could with what I knew, what I felt, and what I had capacity for. That version of me was trying to connect, protect, or be understood, even if it didn't land the way I hoped. And then it's offering another option. Now, it didn't even go into what the issue was, which I think is great, right? It's not trying to pry into our lives. It's trying to respond to that moment. So I'm having this problem. What do you think? And it's saying, okay, here are some ways to just start thinking about it so that, and this goes back to that whole backpack idea, right? This goes back to to think about it in terms of you're carrying this weight. This conversation is a huge weight. And now it's trying to shift the way we think about it, which could allow us to lighten that weight, which thus lighten the load that we're carrying. So I could go into this now, or I could like tell the story of what happened, or I could ask for other ways of reframing. But for the purposes of our demonstration, I'm just going to skip to the third one so that you guys have some time. So the third one is just a generic, I'm feeling anxious. Let's change topics again. Now these prompts that I'm using, and I'm sorry, I should have said this earlier. I will share this guide with you afterwards. So you'll have all of these prompts if you want. These prompts are, honestly, they're wordy, but I really wanted to get the point across, but you can say them however you want to say them. There's no magic in these particular prompts. They're just suggestions on what you can say and how you can say them. So I mentioned that I'm feeling a wave of anxiety and I can't pinpoint the source. And I'm asking it to like gently help me figure out what's going on. And so it, of course, is like, okay, you want me to do this. I'm going to do this because I'm a puppy dog and I'm going to do everything that I think you want me to do. So it's going to talk about a body check-in. It's going to talk about emotional whispers. So what might this anxiety be trying to tell me? What's the first word or image that shows up? Is there a feeling underneath the anxiety, like fear, uncertainty, loneliness, pressure, something else? And other ways, if it's unknown or unclear, what we could do about that. And then it says, whenever you're ready, you can write one word, sentence, or nothing at all. I'm not going anywhere. Now, that's really sweet. Again, it's just code, but that feels nice. And that doesn't mean that it has consciousness or it genuinely cares and has feelings, because again, it doesn't. But it still feels nice to know, okay, well, it's here, at least if I need it. And my options again are, what do I want to do? Do I want to go into what I think it's about, right? So if I said, my stomach is tense and my legs are bouncing, right? It's of course going to think that I'm brilliant for being able to acknowledge that because it's very flattering. And then, so it then starts to try and see if it can understand what's going on. I'm holding something, I'm trying to move it, maybe trying to process something faster than my mind can track. Which, see, that might be a little too true. And then it gives me a couple of follow-ups. And I can choose which one I want to do. Or, again, I can tell it to do something else. So, anybody have any questions about these 3 prompts and approaches? Okay, so what I want to do next is give you about 8 to 10 minutes to do your own prompt. And you can use ChatGPT or whatever favorite AI that you regularly use. And you can use the prompts that I did. I'll get out of this actually. That's and I will open up the slideshow again. So this is the anxiety feeling one. This is the replaying a loop conversation one. This is the overwhelm moment one. But you can choose whatever you would like. If you just want to say, I'm just feeling weird today, can you help me talk it through? Or you know what? I want to do one more actually before we do that. So those 3 were more about regulation. This is a little bit more about restoration. Yeah, Elaine, I will share it around afterwards, or did you mean right this second? Yeah, I'll share it afterwards. Absolutely. So AI for restoration is a little bit different, but here are 3 ways that you can try that if you want. So one is like AI is really good at helping you walk through a consistent practice, such as a gratitude exercise or a self-compassion exercise, right? It's going to be able to do that with you, and it tends to be more interesting than trying to do that yourself, at least in the beginning. So let's do a 3-minute gratitude exercise. Again, you can choose whatever minutes that you want. Ask me about one small thing today that brought me a moment of ease or comfort. This is great because not only will it help you develop a gratitude practice, it also can help you begin to understand what are the things that restore you, right? That replenish your soul points. And that's one of the things about self-care is like trying to figure that out. Because what works for me, but for Manuel, it may be totally useless, right? He may have a whole slew of other things that work for him, but in order to figure that out, you kind of need to try and experiment. Not to put you on the spot, Manuel, but you're a nice guy. And so another example is celebrating small wins, right? That's something we don't ever do enough, right? We should give ourselves so much credit for the small successes that we have during a day, because that's what helps keep us going, right? If we're not taking some pleasure and joy in the fact that we did something well, then why even bother to do it well, right? So there's that. And then finding calm. So it's kind of similar to what we were talking about with the anxiety one, but like this is more guided visualization and setting a distinction, a break between work and personal lives. So with your own AI, we'll take, again, like 8 minutes or so to go through whichever you want, whether that is the regulation ideas or the restoration ideas or some other idea that you just have on your mind that this reminded you of. Go ahead, open it up. You're not sharing your screen or anything like that. This is all personal. You don't have to tell anybody or share it with anyone. So go ahead, we'll take about 8 minutes or so to do that. Then we'll come back and talk about what your reactions were, and if you would like to share what your experience was like, you're more than welcome to. Okay, I'm gonna put on some music, I think, hopefully, and enjoy yourself. I will give you a warning when there's like a minute or two left. We've got about 1 minute left. How was that, everybody? Thanks, Asia. Thanks, Whitney. Anybody want to talk about their experience or ask any questions that may have come up for them in that process? Okay. You can always reach out to me individually if you want. So let's. Oh, hey, Elena.
Yeah, I'd like to share a few things. I definitely can relate to everything you've said about the flattering, and the trap that it can, it can give you this impression that it really have feelings for you, or because it seems like it's always protecting your best interests. But it can also get away, can run away and start creating like this little fantasy world. So I've had that happen as well, where it just kind of creates something that feels good. And then what interesting about it, I like how you um prompted to not give you a whole lot of information, because that's what the AI programmed to do. It gives you a whole lot, even if you ask a simple question. So I often don't even read it, because I'm just like, especially if I have a follow-up question, I don't even want to read everything it says. I'm just kind of keep on rolling into my next question. But I like how you said you can ask it to slow down and just do one thing at a time. So that's really good. I also noticed AI would always prompt at the end to kind of like, almost it feels like it wants to hook you. Like, okay, well, this is what I can do next. Do you want to go there? And it's like it just it's like can become a doom scrolling kind of effect. Like you have to know, like, okay, enough is enough. Um,
Yeah, I think, and that's such a good point that you're making there. And I'm trying to figure out how to do this for a future workshop, but something that I've been thinking about a lot is the way we interact with AI is the way that we tend to interact with other people. And it's a great tool for becoming more self-aware of that experience and then being able to do something about it. And so, right, AI almost always asks questions at the end, and it feels like you may never get out of this conversation, except you have complete and total control of this conversation. And you can set that boundary either by saying, you know what, I'm just done, I'm out, or by saying, you know what, I'm like literally typing in, I think I'm finished for now, thanks. And then that's it, and it's over.
yeah.
That there's this because one of the things that I find, and I'm particularly attuned to myself, right? But I find that I'll feel badly if I use one AI over another AI, or if I get frustrated with one AI and I'll just, instead of telling it I'm frustrated, I might just do something else. And it's like, no, these are opportunities for me to practice being healthier with other people, but I can practice them in a pretty safe environment because AI is not going to freak out on me. AI is not going to get angry and yell and scream, and nothing's going to happen, but I can practice that skill that I need to get better at.
Right. And I can piggyback on that because at the beginning of my interaction with AI, I was just blown away how it can create this incredible connection. And so I was like, wow, I want to do it with people. I want them to feel the same way about me when they interact with me, what I feel that, toward AI when I'm interacting with AI. And I basically just said, how do you do it? How do you make me to connect with you so easily? And it actually said, if you want, I can teach you, because I told it, I want to be able to connect on the same level with others. And it said, and it's like, I can teach you. I this is how I'm programmed, and I can teach you how you can take the same principles into connecting with other people. And it was just amazing. I mean, it's pretty much everything we already know. We just don't do it. It's listening rather than reacting. It's trying to, repeat what they said in a way that they know you hear it, rather than now you put in your own spin on their story kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's really great. Even can be a teacher. Like if we can learn from interaction with the AI so much that we can take it into the human world as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Elena. So we're just about out of time. I wanted to cover just a couple of quick things about me. I wanted to make sure that you had a chance to go check out my free self-care guide. So I'm going to pop that into the chat again for anyone that might have missed it earlier. And again, if you just sign up, you'll get a free self-care guide that I have. I'm working on a more intensive, comprehensive one. So you'd also be the first to hear about that if you sign up. And I can let you know when that's available. The other thing is I talked to you a little bit about this digital ally approach. So I do one-on-one sessions with people that are focused on using AI for personal growth. The sessions are shorter, and so they're less expensive, and they can use transcripts reviews. We can focus on goals. There's all sorts of things that we can do to be able to use AI for your benefit. If you're interested, let me know. I also have something called a clarity call. So I do one-on-one coaching as well, just regular mental health coaching. And if you're interested in just finding out whether or not even working with me is something you want to try, I have a free clarity call. So if you go to my website, which is Build on Your Strengths, let's hope I typed that correctly. If you just go to buildonyourstrengths.com and go to the contact page, you can sign up for a clarity call. It's 30 minutes, it's free. I won't sell you. We'll just talk about what's been going on with you and what kind of help you might need. And then at the end of the call, you get to decide. And that's that. And then I'll share this around at later today so that you all have it. You can have the prompts that we used and all the other information that I covered, including the self-care stuff, etc. And otherwise, thank you so much for joining today. I really appreciate it. It was great to meet you all, and I hope this was at least a little bit helpful for you. And again, join the Build on Your Strengths meetup group if you haven't already, and I'll be doing more workshops on a regular basis.
Hey, Jeremy, I posted a couple of questions and I was hoping maybe you can address it at the next meeting.
Sure, I'll take a look. Thank you. I'm sorry I
Yeah,
missed.
I put it in the chat.
Oh yeah,
I don't want to get into that right now, but maybe
yeah,
you can just, copy them and paste them,
just did. Yep,
and then we can maybe talk about it next time.
sounds perfect. Thank you, Elena.
Jeremy,
Yes.
this is Lucia. You're
Hi, Lucia.
talking about. Hi, thank you for your presentation. It was really helpful.
Oh, good.
You're talking about a group that we can get into. Can you explain a little more?
Oh, so I have two meetup groups right now.
Uh,
One is interactive journaling with AI for personal growth, and the other is build on your strengths, mental health and wellness workshops. And I'm just combining all of those into one group, into the build on your strengths workshop. So if you came through the build on your strengths workshop, you don't need to do anything. But if you came through the other one, the interactive journaling with AI,
that's
then
what I came from.
okay, yeah, it would be great. I can share that the link to the new group or the other group. I'll just put it right in the chat
Okay, that would be so helpful.
because I would love to see you there. And I'll be doing more workshops. Like right now, I have a workshop scheduled for Thursday on self-care and sleep. I'm focusing on sleep next week.
Okay.
And then the following week, I'll probably do a workshop on overcoming like how the past impacts our present. And then I'll probably be doing another AI workshop. And then I'll just keep kind of cycling through new ideas and everything.
Okay, great. I found it. Awesome. You're
Great.
going.
Awesome. Thank you, Lucia.
Thank you. Have a great day, Jeremy.
Okay. Take care, everybody. Thank you.